Hello, my name is Paul Jensen. I'm a wireline tech here at Braze Tool, and today I'm going to show you how to disassemble a 2.5-inch universal pulling tool from the shear up position. The tools required for the disassembly of this tool are as follows. You'll need a hammer, pin punch 5/16, Allen key, adjustable crescent wrench, and a 2-inch core extractor. First step in disassembling your universal pulling tool will be to take your core extractor, placing it into the vise on the top of the handle. From there, we're going to take our universal pulling tool and screw it onto our repinning tool. For this step, we're going to expose our shear pin by rotating your shear pin retainer until you see the exposed shear pin. If the pin in your universal pulling tool has not been sheared, we're going to release the strain from our shear pin by tightening up our core extractor. Once you've released the tension off of your shear pin, you'll need a 5/16 punch and a hammer to remove your non-sheared pin out of your pinning tool. I will demonstrate. We've removed our pin from our tool as well as our punch and hammer. If the pin on your universal pulling tool has been sheared, you'll have to use your core extractor to align your core hole with the shear pin hole in order to completely remove your sheared pin. We're now going to back off our pinning tool to allow our core to fully retract. To do that, we'll simply turn our extracting tool back off. Now it's been completely released and we can remove from our extracting tool. If your shear pin hole is not aligned with your core on your universal pulling tool, you'll need to do so with your pinning tool still in place while not holding any tension. To do that, you will simply spin it until, as you can see here, we've exposed our shear pin hole. Now that we've removed our shear pin from the tool, we are going to align our shear pin retainer and our assembly hole. To do that, we simply rotate the tool until we found our hole and insert our 5/16 punch through the hole. Now that our punch is in our core assist hole on the tool, we'll check if we're in the shear up or down position. If we're in the shear up positions, we'll identify that by having no markings on our fishneck. Now that we've identified our tools in the shear up position, we're going to use our Allen key to remove our grub screw from the fishneck, placing it in the redundant position against the shoulder of our fishneck. This has released our tool grub screw from the core of our tool, allowing us to remove it from the shear up position. Now we are going to reverse thread our fishneck from our core to release it from the shear up position. To do that, we will simply reverse thread . Then, now that our fishneck is disengaged from the core, we're going to lift and continue threading in order to completely enter into the shear down position. You'll know you're in the shear down position when the two engraved markings on the fishneck appear and the threads have backed off completely against your upper cylinder. Now that our fishneck is in the shear down position, we can begin removing our upper cylinder from our lower cylinder by removing it via unthreading. Now our upper cylinder and fishneck have been removed. To remove the fishneck from the upper cylinder, we thread it against the threads till it falls down free through the upper cylinder. We have now removed the fishneck from the upper cylinder. Now that we've removed the upper cylinder and fishneck from our universal pulling tool, we are going to take our universal pulling tool out of the vise, clamping on the coil spring retainer to remove it. A good tip to remove this coil spring is to keep your punch pin inside your core. This will allow you to easily remove this core spring retainer as well as the lock spring retainer, which we'll do next. Our coil spring is now removed. In order to remove the coil spring retainer and lock nut retainer, we'll leave our punch in our core and a clamp in the vise. Once the lock nut is removed, we'll remove the lock nut retainer next by doing the same process. We've now successfully moved our coil spring retainer and coil spring lock nut. Now that our coil spring lock nut and retainer have been removed, we will remove our core extractor. As well as our punch. Now that we've gotten our core spring off, we are going to remove our shear pin retainer. We'll pull our pin punch out, shear pin retainer comes off, that step is complete. I'm now going to show you how to remove the core from the universal pulling tool. And in order to do this, we're going to put our core in the vise right above the threaded section. We are then going to grab onto our lower cylinder, retract the dogs, slide over the core. Core is now removed. We are now going to remove our pawls from the universal pulling tool. In order to complete this, I use our 5/16 wrench. Simply push all of our pawls directly into our tool. Out comes our spring, our retainer, and our 3 pawls. Now that your universal pulling tool is disassembled, I recommend inspecting and cleaning any and all parts to make sure that there is no damage to threaded areas and that there are no gunk or downhole debris in your tool. My name is Paul Jensen, wireline tech here at Brace Tool, and thank you for watching the disassembly of the universal pulling tool.